It's interesting because I think like we've had conversations in the past about like meaning and magic.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And like I've gone through weird fucking ups and downs with that. Because I think at a core, like at its core, what magic really is deception.
Fair enough.
Like,
I mean, I don't know if I don't think I agree with that.
Yeah, I think you don't. And I also like, I know that a lot of people don't. And when people say like magic is wonder, I just can't see that. And I think I've been thinking about that actually.
Cool.
I wonder because like I got into magic at a time in my life where, so like I grew up like super conservative. I would almost call it cultish, like religious upbringing.
Yeah, you didn't have TV and stuff and all that.
Well, TV was like my mom just thinking like it's better to read than to watch TV, which I kind of agree. You know what I mean? I can't really fault that. But like the way, like, so we would go to church from the age of 4 to about 9 or 10, because that's when we moved here. Yeah, we would go to church. I'm trying to be conservative. 10 times a week.
Oh my God.
Like it would be like between like prayer meetings and like church, like Sundays would be twice, like it would be morning and evening.
Wow.
That's
very
it was
cultish.
Like, it was like hours and hours at a time where I'm just sitting there, like, you know, watching these adults do this thing. And so you grow up with that, like believing that, and like, you know, like dancing was considered a sin, alcohol clearly not going to happen. Yeah. You know, like a very, very restrictive, very, very like, I would say like judgmental. Like a lot of it was based on like trying to find your hierarchy in this sort of space and sort of judging each other based on who was the better Christian.
Oh, wow.
You know, like
that sounds very unhealthy.
100%.
Toxic.
100%. Yeah. And like one of the things I remember very clearly is there was one service where I went to, and the pastor or whatever the fuck was like, okay, I want everyone to, like, all the kids in the church to like get out of the church right now. Whoa. And we're like, sweet, fuck yeah, like we're gonna go play or some shit, right? So we went and played hide and seek outside, and I remember overhearing conversations, and basically what had happened was like the main pastor got caught like fucking, like, I don't know, like basically like having sex with like not his wife, obviously, and like it was someone from the church, which is like what you suspect. Like I'm like very suspicious of anyone with that sort of like power nowadays. Like I'm like, you're doing some fucking weird shit, bro. I don't give a fuck. You know, so like I'm very suspicious of religious leaders. Yeah. I'm very suspicious of anyone that sort of like seems altruistic on the outside, but they sort of have this weird power structure. Yeah. So I felt like, you know, around that time where I started magic, I felt like a lot of my life I was lied to, right? So when I saw magic, I think now I'm like starting to kind of connect the dots where I'm like, I think the fascination was, wait a minute, someone can fool me like this. That means that, you know, like it's actually a thing you can do. You can fool people very easily. And so I think my fascination with magic came initially from deception. Okay. Yeah. And I think it's very hard for me to see it any other way, which is why I think I feel very guilty when I have these sort of like, you know, the whole, like, I hate the fucking ambitious card. Like the card is ambitious and it rises from the middle to the top because it's ambitious. The card has a person, like that shit is blatantly lying to the audience. Yeah. And so I think like,
that's not deceptive.
For sure, but it's like you're almost insulting your audience intelligence, you know? So, but anyway, so I think like I view a lot of magic through that lens. And so I really struggle to see that wonder that people talk about. Yeah. And I know it's entertaining, but it's not, for me, it's never about the wonder. It's about like, oh shit, that's like interesting way to deceive someone. Right. You know, and like, that's what I find entertaining about it. Cool. And so for me, it's like, sometimes I struggle with the meaning aspect because it's like, I'm just lying. Like, I know I'm telling people I'm lying to them, but like, it's just entertainment. Yeah. I don't see the wonder that people talk about. I don't see the, you know, the life-changing perspective or whatever the hell people talk about. So I think this is like kind of linked to our conversations in the past where I'm like, I don't know how to make my magic feel meaningful to me. Right? Because it just feels empty. It just feels like I'm doing this to get the feedback or the adoration or the what's it called? Like the validation of the people around me, you
sure.
know, as opposed to doing it to spread some sort of wonder or
Joy
some
or
sort of
wonder.
joy. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Uh-huh.
I think you know, like the way you perform magic is probably like the closest I've ever seen to that sort of idea of like
Oh, thank you.
wonder or mad. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
so wholesome that you can't. It's like I can't hate this motherfucker. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I don't even care you're lying to me because it is that feel of like I like you from the very get go of the performance.
Oh,
you know?
thanks, man.
Whereas
That's really sweet.
for me when I perform, that's you know that's genuinely what I feel.
Oh.
But like for me when I perform, like because I enjoy the lying and the deception, I almost feel guilty. So I have to overcorrect. I have to be like, I have to win them over to my side by doing all this funny shit or like, you know, like doing a little gag where I'm like, you know, I'm going to try to cheat, catch me out, you know, but also like I'm on your side. Like we're not playing for money, you know, like, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I think like I've struggled with that a lot and in the past, and like these sort of experiences are able to reinforce that for me, like reinforce the meaning behind it. And just doing the something magic and stuff, like I've realized that it doesn't have to necessarily mean something, but if the connection with the audience is there, and if people are, you know, on some level, like taken out of their mundane life, you know, able to see something that they wouldn't normally see, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to like change their life in any way necessarily, but like, you know, as long as I'm being self-aware about what I'm doing and I'm like able to communicate that across through my magic, I feel like it is like something that the world is better off for, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But that was like a huge problem. And like in the first Something Magic I was a part of, I tried to come in through some fucking weird angle of like, I want to show an ego death in a card trick.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Like I wanted to like portray a psychedelic trip essentially. And it just like was so pretentious. And like, I felt bad doing it. And when you guys' feedback was like, yeah, you're trying too hard to tell something or make it meaningful. And I'm like, I agree. I don't know how the fuck to do it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, I think that's such a important part of this journey, and like that sort of like finding meaning in magic. And I think part of that journey is also like that what you were sharing with me. It's like, how do you do that? How do you find meaning in magic? It's very, very difficult. And it's something that I'm still trying to sort of navigate. I also feel you on that whole thing where like, and like also like, yeah, it feels pretentious at times. Like, who am I to say these things, you know, about like, what do I know about life? And what, like, why do I have to talk about these things in a magical context? But with regards to the, just going back to the like magic being deception and like the wonder and part of it, like sharing wonder. I used to also like very similar. I used to be, it's something I really struggled with actually. I was like, I'm a magician. Like this is, I think early last year, this is when I was going through this, so after Fula, sort of reflecting on the whole like journey is like, what am I as a magician? Who am I? Like, what do I want from magic, etc., etc. I realized that I was a magician, but I didn't believe in magic, right? And I think that's the case with most magicians.
In fact, it's probably why you become a magician, because you're like, nah, there's got to be some shit to this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you want to explore, like what the hell? Like that can't be possible. Like surely there's a trick behind it, right? And I was like, what? Like who? Like how can I convince people of magic that I'm doing if I myself don't believe in magic? And that just really like stuck with me. I was like, this is a fundamental contradiction in this process. Like I'm a magician, magic.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in magic. I don't believe that magic is real. And so what I did was I just didn't do magic at all. I think I told you about this. I just took a break from magic for I think 6 to 8 months, where I just barely even, I had a deck of cards in my hands just out of like habit, but I wasn't working on anything. And in that time, I was going through a lot of other life stuff as well. And in that time, I mean, like the details are almost, we can talk about the details, but there was so much stuff going on in my life, and I was just sitting and observing. And somehow in that process, I came to the conclusion that no, magic is real. Magic is present all around us. And I firmly hold that belief now. I could go into detail about explaining what I mean by that, but essentially, like, now when I perform magic, I believe in magic, and that makes a huge difference from me internally performing, and I think that shows it.
So that was the highlight. If you want to see the full episode, click down in the description or on the screen somewhere. If you want to see more highlights, they're all around you, literally all around you in the universe. And if you want to help a brother out, click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, click like, or if you didn't like it, just hit the dislike, I guess. You know, it's your life, dude. I mean, it's your fucking life. What can I say?